Good morning, Digit fam, and welcome to the podcast version of a double take. You see, yesterday we reported on a story in the roundup and then kind of did a, wait, what? Kind of thing, and it definitely warranted some further exploring. So here we are on day 2 of the NASA debacle. It is May 2nd, 2019, and this is your Digit Daily. So yesterday we reported on this Oregon-based aluminum manufacturer that was defrauding NASA for over the course of 20 years. But now we know so much more about this and it's just too juicy, so we're going all in. We mentioned yesterday that 2 NASA launches had failed, one in 2009 and one in 2011. In both cases, the rocket made it to space but failed to separate from its payload, causing a total loss. After the separation failing in 2009, NASA redesigned the whole thing because everything should have worked. But the problem is, NASA didn't have all the data, which is to say, NASA had the data, but the data was bullshit. Now, before we go any further, it's worth mentioning that this is literal rocket science, so things might get a little complicated here, so bear with me. NASA produced an 8-page report about the failures because scientists and government officials are long-winded. The gist of it is, everything should have worked, but when they failed, NASA was able to recover some of the failed components and retested them. Lo and behold, the tested components weren't up to spec. This set off an investigation that got SPI in trouble. But here's the thing. This investigation has been going on for years, and a lot has happened in that time. Consider this. SPI has been barred from government work since 2015. In 2017, Dennis Balius, the SPI testing supervisor, went to jail for 3 years after admitting that his company was falsifying reports. In total, SPI falsified over 2,000 tests for over 200 customers over the course of 19 years. Why? Money, of course. Not only did the falsification allow SPI to continue to peddle crappy goods to unknowing customers, but SPI employees earned bonuses based on production numbers that were met because they were shipping shit. Bottom line, everyone in on this was in it for the money. Meanwhile, $700 million in tax money, plus R&D, and a redesign that didn't need to happen, plus years of scientific research goes down the toilet. And here's the really crappy part. SPI got bought by a Norwegian aluminum company in 2017, so SPI isn't even SPI anymore. Now it's Hydro Extrusion Portland Inc., so if you're wondering where you shouldn't buy aluminum from, there you go. So what this all boils down to is a crooked company got rich because it lied at every conceivable step along the way. Now they've been given a slap on the wrist. They're paying out $46 million to NASA and the DOJ and other customers that cheated. But it won't get to take on any government contracts for the foreseeable future. And is that enough? I'm not so sure, seeing as how the company got bought and most of the perpetrators probably got rich because of it. Is this a miscarriage of justice? I would be hard-pressed to find a better example of one personally, and people wonder why capitalist societies are roundly criticized. But I'm just going to go ahead and leave this right here as we head on into the roundup. Yesterday, Facebook said that the future is private, and today Google announced a tool that is rolling out that lets users automatically set their data to delete after a given amount of time. Granted, those times are never, 3 months, and 18 months, so there's not a whole lot of variety there, but still, auto-deleting your search history for porn can be a valuable tool in the future. That's a relief, and did I say that out loud? Google is expected to launch 2 new smartphones next week at Google I/O, and we have pricing to go along with new renders of the devices. The Pixel 3a looks to start at $399, and the Pixel 3a XL starts at $479. And if you don't mind my saying, this is about time. Getting a great phone with a phenomenal camera for that price point is a great deal, and all you have to do is live with the stupid name of the phone. Good and bad decisions seem to go hand in hand with every generation of Moto Z phones, and we have some leaks that show that tradition will continue with the Moto Z4. The good, continuing the Moto Mod tradition into its 4th year, plus a headphone jack which was left off of the Moto Z3. The bad? Single camera setup on the back and a Snapdragon 675 CPU. We'll definitely have to wait for the final price and then give it about 3 weeks until that price drops again by $200 or so to make a final judgment here. It will likely fall to the camera to ultimately determine the fate of this phone. Apple is not happy with Intel these days. During a quarterly earnings call yesterday, Apple referenced Intel as being the reason for a decline in MacBook sales and therefore revenue. From Tim Cook via Daring Fireball, quote, "For our Mac business overall, we face some processor constraints in the March quarter, leading to a 5% revenue decline compared to last year. But we believe that our Mac revenue would have been up compared to last year without those constraints, and don't believe that this challenge will have a significant impact on our Q3 results." And let's add to that the fact that Apple had to pay out around $4.7 billion with a B dollars to Qualcomm to settle up those lawsuits we talked about a couple weeks back. One big reason why Apple had to settle? Intel's complete and utter failure to provide anything approaching a decent modem for the iPhone. Safe to say Apple won't be sending Intel any Christmas cards this year. Amazon says that the technology needed to fully automate a warehouse is at least 10 years away, but it can fully automate the firing of workers right now. Amazon cites human intelligence as a key differentiator between man and machine. A person can pick a single item out of a bin without damaging the other items, and a human can differentiate between firm bananas and ripe bananas. And all this is great, but I'm a little uncomfortable with the idea of job security due to fruit interpretation. And finally, this is really cool. Storm chasers are using drones to follow tornadoes, and the internet is immensely thankful. One storm chaser caught up to a tornado tearing across the Oklahoma countryside and followed it in beautiful 4K glory. And if I'm the only person currently picturing the late Bill Paxton sitting on top of a red pickup truck with VR goggles and a remote yelling, "Go, Joe, I got this!" then I don't even know what's wrong with society anymore. But that is going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and don't forget to tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com because friends make all the difference. Once again, I'm Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again tomorrow.